Hey, what's up everybody? Glad you're here. It's been a minute since I've filmed any content for the channel, but I've got what I think is going to be a pretty fun video cooked up. Today is March 11th. It is the first day of spring break where I'm at, which means I've got a little bit of time on my hands. I'm going to go out, and the goal this week in this video, I'm going to head to the short course here in town, which ironically is where I filmed all the videos so far. I promise it's not the only place to play, and I promise I do play longer and harder courses. But I'm going to go out to Upperman Middle School this week. I've got about 4 days, I think, where I'm going to be able to film this week, and I'm going to try and ace all 9 holes at Upperman Middle School. We'll see if we can do it. We'll see how long it takes. Obviously, the goal is to get all 9 of them. I think I can call this effort a success if we get 7 or so. I think if we get just over that 2/3 mark, then that'll be pretty good. To get all 9, I'm going to need about 2 a day plus 3 on one of the days that I'm filming. But it should be a lot of fun. For context, the longest hole is just a little bit over 200 feet. I have aced one of these already, and no, these are not. It's not going to be like one shot on every hole. I'm not going for a 9 on the course, right? Like I'm not playing around and only taking the first shot. I'm going to be staying on the tee box and throwing as many as it takes to get it in. So some of you purists are going to be like, those don't count as aces. Fine, then the title of this video for you is throwing in from the tee box on all 9 holes. Either way, I think it's impressive. I think it's going to be fun. Let's get to throwing some shots.
All right, this is me introducing the first hole. I just wanted to jump in here at the beginning and say real quick, if you don't want to watch a 40-minute video, then I will be uploading a version where I just post the metal hits and all the aces. But let's get into it. Now, when I started this journey, I knew it was going to be hard. But it was pretty clear after a couple of throws just how hard it was going to be. As I unloaded my first bag at hole 1 and nothing really got close, I started questioning what I was doing just a little bit. But I still had the confidence that I was going to be able to knock down at least the majority of these holes. Once I got out there and started throwing, I did realize that my camera's battery only had about 13 minutes on it, even though I charged it all night. So as shot after shot sailed over, I knew that I wasn't really going to have a ton of time to film. And as I started bag 2, I did have to switch to recording on my iPhone. A quick note on what I was throwing here. I took all the drivers out of my bag, except I accidentally left my crave and resistor in for the first couple of bags. So it was all putters and mids. I had about 4 proxies, a Praxis, which is just the Thought Space Athletics version of a proxy. I was throwing my Glitch, a Berg, a Pilot. I had 5 Envies, which, man, throughout this video, those Envies were all over the basket. I had a Paradox, which is in my bag, and I kind of just left it in because it was a slow speed disc. You know, it's a 5-speed mid-range. And I didn't have a lot of confidence that I would get an ace with the Paradox, but it was in the bag as something flippy just to kind of chuck and have fun with, really. I had an Axis, a Hex, my Reactor, a Pyro, and then several approach discs that are kind of all in the same category, a Tempo, an Entropy, a Zone, and a Harp. As I wrapped up my 3rd bag and moved into my 4th, the reality of just how difficult this video was going to be to accomplish started to really set in. You know, it was a nice day outside. It was only like 55 degrees, but at this point, I was sweating bullets. I felt like I'd put so much effort in and I hadn't even drawn metal yet. How was I going to ace every one of these holes? I knew that if I wanted to get an ace, let alone 9 of them, it would take the perfect shot. And as I threw, I began to think about that idea of perfection and the way we throw that word around in sports. Obviously, in disc golf, what comes to mind are Paul McBeth's 2 quote-unquote perfect rounds that he's had on the Disc Golf Pro Tour. To be honest, as I thought about that, those rounds weren't perfect. You know, McBeth had a par and an eagle in both rounds. He didn't even birdie every single hole to get those 18 unders. But the reality is, perfect isn't actually possible. We use perfect to describe what we would say is the greatest achievable measure of something. So Paul McBeth's perfect round, 18 under, that's as best as we can do. In reality, a perfect round of disc golf would actually be a hole-in-one on every hole, at least the way that I think about that. We'll get back to that idea of perfection in a second, but as I wrapped up bag number 6, my phone ran out of storage, so I went home. When I came back out on Monday night, I had one thing in mind. I wanted to at least draw metal, hit the chain, something to give me a boost of confidence, to make me feel like what I was doing was actually possible. After a couple of throws, I came really close, a couple of them back to back even, that flew just over or just in front of the basket. My confidence had already increased by the time I threw this proxy that I've aced with a couple of times. So close.
Oh, do it. No! Got metal. Got metal. We got metal.
My first metal hit gave me the confidence to keep unloading my bag in hopes of getting an ace before I went home on Monday night. Back on the idea of perfection, I thought a little bit as I was throwing about a perfect game in baseball. 27 straight outs, no base runners. But even the definition of a perfect game in baseball wasn't actually perfect. It's just as close to perfect as we as humans can get. Because I can imagine a more perfect game than just 27 straight outs. What about 9 straight immaculate innings, striking out the side on 9 pitches 9 times? Or what about 9 3-pitch innings? Only 27 throws to record 27 outs? That would be perfection. The reality is we as humans are not actually capable of perfection. So we move the bar down just a little bit and call really, really great perfect. And here I was in pursuit of 9 perfect throws over however long it took me. But that's enough of philosophy. As I threw the last throw of bag number 8, I knew right out of my hand that this one was going to be close.
So close.
I felt like I had tried everything at this point to just will the disc into the basket. I took my hat off, I threw my hands in the air, I tried to swing the disc left to right with my arms, and nothing was going in. Bag 9 started off with a couple of shots that can only really be described as shanks. I dialed things in a little bit here with this shot with the Praxis. And then, as I threw that blue proxy again, I had a great feeling as this disc was in the air. But it wasn't meant to be. Next up in my bag, the Paradox. An ace, finally.
Paradox. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We got one. We got one.
After 216 throws in 50 minutes, I was on the board.
Oh, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yes. Come on. No way. Woo. We got one. We got one. Oh, do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Yes. Come.
It was time to move on to hole 2. I went over to the second tee full of energy, and I knew to stay on pace, I needed to get this one before I left. I was all over this basket pretty quickly, spiking a couple of hyzers right by the pin and even drawing metal on my first bag.
There it is. Bang. Oh.
Being fresh off that ace on hole 1, I really felt like I was going to knock out 2 in just a couple of minutes. Hole 1, after all, in my head, was a good bit more difficult than hole 2 to ace, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Disc after disc of my first bag went just by the cage, or just by the chains, and I moved on to bag number 2. I drew metal with one of my envies on the first bag, and as I was throwing bag number 2, I could tell I felt really dialed throwing those putters. There's one thing throughout this video that felt like a huge advantage to me as I was trying to ace, was having multiple of the same mold of a disc like the envy that I felt really comfortable throwing, but this time the runway provided the fireworks. Bag 3 was one to forget, as this right here was the best shot. Bag 4 was at least a little bit more exciting. I pumped hyzer after hyzer, just in front or just behind the basket, and as the lights came on behind me at the high school, I knew I was going to have a limited number of throws left for the night. By the time I started unloading bag 5, there was a clear difference in light, even just comparing it to bag 4. I started off throwing some more straight shots as opposed to the hyzers that I was throwing before. And while I eventually moved back to them, I had some pretty good results throwing those more straight lines with some more understable discs. Pulled out that runway again, hung it out high and wide, and just snagged the tiniest bit of metal with that spike hyzer. And threw another hyzer back to back, and this one goes just over the top, maybe even caught that number. As I moved on to bag number 6, I realized the lighting had gotten even worse somehow. So I adjusted my camera position a little bit, and sorry about the video editing, I did whatever I could to make these shots visible, because actually what ended up happening is this bag I drew metal several times. I nicked the pole once or twice, skimmed off the number on the top of the basket. Overall, this bag just felt really, really good. I thought I was going to get it several times as I was unloading here at the end of the night. This next shot flew just over the top before I managed to snag another metal hit again off the number, and that led to the best throw at hole 2 I had with the entropy. So close, but it was time to call it a day and come back tomorrow. After a day of beating my head against the wall at this challenge, I decided to invite some friends to come out and throw with me. Dalton, Jackson, and Jack. This weird shepherd mix decided to join us as well. We didn't really know this dog. Jack was watching Tug, that boxer you see jumping around down there. But this dog just wandered over from across the street and kind of hung out with us for a while. It liked to steal our Frisbees. Overall, it was kind of a nuisance, but also gave us something to laugh at as we slammed our heads against the wall trying to get this ace. I threw a shot as they ran back, and threw a pretty good one. Some wind bounces, but it snuck just under the cage. As the 4 of us started getting dialed, I tossed this envy just underneath again, and we moved on to bag number 8 for me, 2 for everybody else. We started off with Dalton getting 2 different kinds of metal. Once the tripod, and then this.
Oh, I got some in!
We could smell blood in the water, and Dalton wasn't satisfied with just those 2 metal hits, so smacked the camera again. This time, moving the shot to where we couldn't see anything for the rest of that bag. So on to bag 9. We had a couple of fireworks this time with Dalton buzzing the tower there. And then Jack slid one that we thought had a chance at jumping up in there, but just had a dead skip right there. Jackson was so close to getting this hyzer line down. Remember that for later. And just when you think we hit all the metal you could on this hole, Jackson found something else to hit. That's right off the stop sign before bag 10. Jackson lining up that hyzer again, and didn't like it, but hey, stop sign for the second time. How about it?
Second time.
We felt great about this throw from Dalton right out of his hand.
Oh my God. That's it. Oh my God.
just a half-inch low. Then Jackson lined up throw number 450-ish with the buzz.
Buzz. Yes! Yes! We got number 2! Oh my gosh! Pick them up, boys. Buzz nailed it. 2 down. Buzz. Yes!
I didn't manage to keep as good a count this time, but roughly 450 throws later, finally, 2 holes down. We moved on to hole 3 with a lot of excitement, but this hole was still daunting. Hole 3 threatened to be one of the more difficult holes out here, being longer than most of the other ones and having these guardian trees on either side. It was difficult to swing, especially a backhand hyzer. A little more room for the forehand, but still a tough window to try to hit. Our first bag didn't yield too much excitement as we kind of felt the hole out. Is it better to go like with a line drive between the trees or throw the big hyzer around the short one right in front? But we did get a pretty cool moment as this disc that Jackson got stuck in a tree kind of fell out of nowhere due to the wind. This last forehand here from Dalton was really the only shot of our first set that had much of a chance. The wind continued to be a problem in bag 2 as we got some nice ASMR of these trees getting hit around. Very nice indeed. And then Tug helped me out here as I chucked this axis towards the basket. Almost a little tree direct. You can see how I felt about that one. It looked really good. Again, these trees just seemed to guard anything, even though this one actually helped it out. Almost put it in for me. And one last throw from bag 2, this time from Jackson, just elevatoring right over the top. We stayed assaulting the tree as we moved into bag number 3. And the shot from me right here skips into the pole, our first little bit of metal here on this hole, and then Dalton started to get hot. Just over the top. We'll take another look at it from the catch cam view. This one was so close to finding metal. Dalton stayed hot. Another good run here, just short, just in front of the basket. And then this is my first time ever throwing an AVR X3. This is Dalton's disc.
Come on, baby! Oh! Come on, baby! Oh! No!
Just pure agony. We thought we had it. Look at us back there. I get a kick out of that. But it was time to hang it up. The boys were ready to go home, so we left, and I came back later that night. Back out here by myself. I got a nice little park job in back 4 with that Envy, but nothing too special from the rest of those throws. I decided that hyzer was the way to go, trying to get it over the tree and then spiking in. Had a couple more line drive attempts at it. You'll see here in a second just the distribution of the discs on the ground. So another one just goes just in front with the Envy, the Eagle Envy right there. Again, going for these high spikes, another tree hit. Love to have those. But you'll see in just a second, there's a lot of discs off from this perspective to the left of the basket as I park it with the Praxis there. There you see discs all on the ground there. Those are all hitting the tree and just landing short. Only one throw worth showing from bag number 7 though.
No way, dude. No way. That's 2 with the paradox. Let's go.
Just such a perfect flight. I think this is my favorite of all the aces. Just such a beautiful throw. Watch it from this angle. Man, I can't get enough of this.
Number 2 with this guy.
Second with the paradox, and it's becoming one of my favorite discs as we move on to hole 4, which, as you can see, not really in a playable state. This is the view from the tee pad. Big old tractor right there in the way. This is looking basket back to tee. So on to hole 5, skipping 4 for now. Kind of a funny angle here that you can see there's a very low ceiling here on hole 5. It's, I think, the shortest hole on the course. It's only about 98 feet. But there's a very low hanging branch right off the tee, and I left these shots in here. They're obviously all terrible. Just to show kind of how difficult it is to really hit the line on this hole. This is actually the only hole that I've aced outside of this video at Upperman. But again, just difficult to get the height right. You kind of have to send a laser through there, and a couple from that second bag just cruising right under the cage there.
There it is. No, what? Oh.
From the tee, I just couldn't believe how that hex didn't go in, just a hair too high off the almost non-existent band right there. And just a couple throws later, more metal. Not the good kind though, off the cage. And it was on to bag number 4. I started to get the height right after a miss high and a miss low, with a couple of shots just cruising inches away from the chains on either side. And as we moved into bag 5, lighting started to become a bit of an issue. You can see it's a good bit darker, and miss just short right there. Bag 6, I'm just unloading as quickly as I can, trying to make the most of the daylight that I had left. One off the hole right there. You see it just dipped at the last second. Looked good all the way from the tee. A little course maintenance here before the highlight. Chain out. Unreal, dude. I could not believe that that one didn't stick. Tough lighting here, but you can see the tree direct just wasn't quite low enough. It's time to hang it up. Wednesday afternoon, coming back out to challenge hole 5 again. I couldn't really get the line figured out again as I came out for bag 8. A couple of half chances, really. That one looked pretty good after the tree kick, but it went down a little too violently. Just really struggled to get anything going early on. I invited Dalton back out, and I was excited because his forehand is a lot better than mine, and I felt like that's maybe what we needed to get the ace.
Hey, what's the glitch?
Oh, I got it. Oh my god!
And how in the world does this envy not stick? Right out of my hand, I knew it was good. Just a heartbreaking chain out there. Got a great sound out of this tempo here.
In there. Dang.
Just such a great ping, honestly. Little tap of the chains for luck, and it was on to bag number 10. Dalton lined up his AVR X3, and this thing was seeking metal on every hole.
We will hit that. Yeah, we don't need to hit it anymore. No way.
This next one navigated its way through the gap in the trees.
Oh, how did that not just... Oh, how did that not just...
Pretty clearly we were in disbelief. Man, just the lightest of tree touches, we thought for sure that would fall in.
Oh, I did it. Go, 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 go. What? Oh. What? Go, 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 go. What? Oh. What?
Again, dialed with the envies, even almost got the ace after it hit the band and fell back down. But we wouldn't have to wait too long to celebrate.
Go, go, go. Let's go! Come on, get out of town, dude. We've got 4 of them done. We did. Oh my gosh. We've got 4 done. Oh, he did it. Go, go, go. Let's go!
Dalton just absolutely hearted this basket. Laser beam with the MD5. 4 holes down. Hole 6 was one that I was worried about. It's a difficult left to right shot, and it's the most exposed hole to wind out here. We did find metal early. This is a turnover with an atom, I believe, and Dalton and I were pretty surprised that we got metal that quickly.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Dalton followed that up pretty quickly with this shot with the Svea.
Beautiful. Get metal. No way! No way! No way!
I know I said that hole 3 was probably my favorite ace, but come on, that is a thing of beauty. This one takes the cake for sure. Unreal. Hole 7, here we come. strap in as we go into hole 7 here. I didn't exactly count metal hits, but I'm certain that we got more metal on 7 than any other hole. In particular, we probably had more chain outs specifically on hole 7 than metal on any other hole. It just felt like I was banging my head against the wall for so long on this shot. Not just the metal hits, but the amount of hyzers that we had just go inches in front or inches behind led this to be a very frustrating hole as Dalton nicks our first bit of metal there. The hyzer just off the number. I felt super confident about hole 7. This is one that I chained out of before. Allie has chained out on this one as well. Felt like it was going to be a really quick, simple hyzer shot. But 3 bags in, and we were not feeling as confident as we were when we started. Again, just hyzer after hyzer, just short, just in front. It shapes beautifully for a putter hyzer on this hole. Had a couple of shots that look good. The straight ones get blocked by that tree there, and again, another shot right over the basket. And again, I think I made this point earlier. When you're playing around and you have an ace run that you feel like is super close, it probably is super close, as there's our first chain out on this hole with the Praxis right off the front. Here's Dalton with his pyro. It just grazes the tiniest bit of metal. You'll see it here. Just really can hear it more than you can see it. But then after he threw his pyro, I grabbed mine and gave it a nice little throw here. Just too low. Still a solid hit off the pole.
Pyro. That little tight.
Another good bait here with the Praxis, starting off bag 5. Just on top of the cage. You can see it here in a lot of these other shots from this angle, from the tee pad. As I got tired, I had a lot more flutter on my backhand, and I think that's a result of not just being tired, but also trying to throw maybe a little bit softer than normal. My form wasn't quite what I would use going for a full power drive on a lot of these runs. And that kind of reinforced the difficulty of playing a multi-round tournament in one day. Obviously, way more shots thrown in this video than in a tournament. We nick metal here again, but it's not something I really think about, how being tired affects my throws. As Dalton almost brings this one up just off the underside of the cage. It was a weird metal hit. We both kind of had given up on it, and then all of a sudden, bang, metal. A couple of so-so shots here, really trying to fine-tune that hyzer angle. That last one just under, this one just over the basket. Here this disc turns into 2 out of nowhere. Pretty cool. Some good width on this shot. Really like the shape of it. Just a bit outside. Big, nice, wide hyzer here. Just misses the base, and Dalton with another good run. Again, somehow scraping the bottom of the cage. A weird hit, but every little bit of metal gave us a little bit more confidence as we kept going. Sent one just over the top here as we get started on bag number 8 here on hole 7. I was a fan of this one the whole way. You can see even after it missed, I still liked it, hands in the air, but no ace still. Here's a proxy that I actually have multiple aces with, and you see a little flutter out of the hand. What? Almost perfect anyways. Another chain out. This hole just will not give it to us. Look at that. Dalton whipping up a nice little forehand line here. Just dives underneath the cage for another backhand slides right over the top. Dalton had to leave, and then I immediately did this as he was pulling out. Unreal tree kick. I'd actually given up on this throw and turned around to grab the next disc, and then I heard it hit metal and turned around. I was like, what happened? Immediately watched that footage back. Nearly the cool tree kick ace. A couple of nice runs back-to-back here with some envies. Again, if you're going to go out and try to do this, grab a couple of the same mold, because it's going to make a big difference in terms of trying to repeat lines and shot shapes as that fission and neutron envy fly just behind the basket. I went through bag after Dalton left, knowing that I really needed to get this hole 7, before the day ended if I wanted to stay on the pace that I wanted to be on. And that is another one off the chains here. This time with the Brian Earhart zone, just a little bit short. Didn't quite catch. Decent little run here with the Praxis, just long and just right, but that was immediately followed up by this shot with a Pilot. More heartbreak as I catch just a little bit of strong side chains, just a little too much heat and a little bit too far right. Followed up by this envy shot that hits off the top. Thought that was in the whole way from the tee pad. A little bit of metal here at the top of bag 13 with the Berg. That would not be the only highlight from this bag though. Praxis in the air, a little bit of a good luck honk from that red truck, and
Yes!
finally,
Yes! 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 Oh my gosh!
extremely eloquent there from myself, but hey, after 467 throws and finally getting an ace, I'm sure that's about all you could come up with too.
Oh, we're so close now. We're so close.
So close indeed. And as I moved on to hole 8, which is basically just a mirror image of hole 1, I could finally see the end of this challenge in sight as this Paradox nearly rings up its third ace. Just left it a tiny bit outside there. This hole really kind of tricked me from the tee pad. There were several shots that I thought were definitely going in that did not, or were actually just way short. Case in point here with this shot from the Berg. Giving me a little hop out of myself there, but it was still quite a few feet short. And this was the last good shot from Wednesday, just a little bit long. I was dog tired, had to call it a day, and come back out Thursday afternoon. Now Thursday the wind was absolutely whipping, as you can tell by the way that shot turned over. And by this right here, yes, the tripod actually got blown over by the wind. It was moving so quickly. So I reset it up a little bit lower this time, try to get out of the wind. Apologies if the audio is just terrible on this section. Doing what I can to try to make it manageable here though. I called in reinforcements. You see Dalton pulling in right there, and I thought, man, how cool would it be to just smash this with the Berg as he's pulling in? Oh well. I tried to work a little bit with the wind, going for this little backhand turnover here. Then Jackson called me to see if we were still out there planning on throwing for a little while longer. And I told him it was so windy, we were definitely going to need his help. And then hung up and basically immediately did this.
Yeah, baby!
No way!
Go. Yeah, baby!
An envy died up by Dalton himself with Niels Bohr's face on it. Throw 111, and we had one hole left. So, while we waited for Jackson to get there, Dalton and I moved on to hole 9, which, I'll be honest, in a disc golf course 9 holes on a school ground kind of way, it's sort of an iconic hole. If you're playing this course for score, you've got this narrow strip of grass that constitutes the fairway, the basket right in the middle. You can be just outside the circle and find yourself out of bounds, and it plays towards the front of the middle school with the flags in the background. It looks awesome. There's Jackson getting his stretch in, getting warmed up as we finish off our first bag. Dalton goes just low right there, gets another good one in here, just turning and fading at the last second wide. On to bag 2.
Nothing too crazy to this point early on in bag 2. A couple of nice park jobs, but we actually hadn't gotten medaled yet. We were riding the high of that ace on hole 8. And then Jackson canned it, smashed it with the spike hyzer so quick, it was insane. Just a couple of throws from him, and we got it. We got hole 9. Incredible.
Oh my gosh! He did it! Wow! No way! Oh, man. And I quote, I actually like that.
And with that beautiful, perfect shot, we were done. We'd aced every hole out there. The job was finished. Or so we thought. You didn't think we were actually going to skip a hole out here. After acing 8 of them, we were just going to leave one undone because construction equipment was in the middle of the fairway? No chance. We set up a temporary tee pad a little bit further than the usual one and set to work trying to ace hole 4. We were on cloud 9 when we got to this tee box. Nothing could stop us. It just felt like it was going to happen so quickly. And we tried a lot of different shots. Forehand hyzer, backhand hyzer, Dalton with the tree direction here. But Jackson started off bag 2 with something special. Boom!
Oh, carry. Flex.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
dude! Flex.
Oh,
Yes,
God.
dude! You mad lad! Wow.
And with that, we had finally done it. After countless bad, good, okay, and almost perfect throws, we finally had 9 perfect shots. 9 aces, 1 on each and every hole. It took 1,886 shots over the course of 7 hours and 51 minutes, shot over 4 days, and we did it. It was an incredible journey. I loved sharing it with some of my closest friends. And despite all the heartbreak, despite all the times where I thought there's no way I can actually do this, there's no way we can get this done, I would do it again in a heartbeat. This was some of the most fun I've had playing disc golf. It was a great time. If you want to do something like this, you should. It's totally worth it. It was incredible. Thank you guys for watching.
That's all of them.
That was gonna go in the. Oh.
Got the cameras.